Here are some common cognitive biases. Overconfidence bias. This bias involves individuals' tendency to overestimate their own abilities, knowledge, or judgment, leading them to be more confident in their decisions than is warranted by objective evidence. Confirmation bias. This bias involves favoring information that confirms one's existing beliefs or hypotheses while ignoring or discounting contradictory evidence. Availability heuristic. People tend to overestimate the likelihood of events that are more easily recalled from memory, often due to their vividness or recent occurrence. Don't skip the subscribe button, please. Anchoring bias occurs when individuals rely too heavily on the first piece of information they receive when making decisions, even if it is irrelevant or inaccurate. Hindsight bias, also known as the "I knew it all along" effect, refers to the tendency for people to perceive past events as having been more predictable than they actually were before they occurred. Illusion of control. This bias involves individuals' tendency to overestimate their ability to control or influence outcomes, even in situations where they have little or no actual control. Loss aversion. Loss aversion refers to people's tendency to prefer avoiding losses over acquiring equivalent gains, leading to risk aversion and suboptimal decision-making in certain situations. Sunk cost fallacy. The sunk cost fallacy occurs when individuals continue to invest time, money, or effort into a project or decision, even when it is clear that the costs outweigh the benefits because they have already invested resources into it. Bandwagon effect. This bias involves the tendency for people to adopt certain beliefs, behaviors, or trends simply because others are doing so, without critically evaluating the evidence or alternatives. Framing effect. Framing bias occurs when people's decisions are influenced by the way information is presented or framed, leading to different choices depending on how the same information is presented. Outcome bias. Outcome bias involves judging the quality of a decision based on its outcome rather than the process used to make it, even if the outcome was influenced by factors beyond the individual's control. Self-serving bias. Self-serving bias is the tendency for individuals to attribute positive outcomes to their own abilities or actions, while attributing negative outcomes to external factors or circumstances beyond their control. Recency bias. Recency bias occurs when individuals give more weight to recent events or experiences when making judgments or decisions, overlooking older or less recent information. Attentional bias. Attentional bias refers to the tendency for individuals to pay more attention to certain types of information or stimuli while ignoring or minimizing others, often due to personal preferences, fears, or biases. Dunning-Kruger effect bias is a cognitive bias that people with low knowledge, experience, or skills tend to overestimate their own ability, and that people with high knowledge, experience, or skill tend to underestimate their own ability. These are just a few examples of the many cognitive biases that can influence human judgment and decision-making. Recognizing these biases is essential for promoting critical thinking and making more informed choices in various aspects of life. Don't skip the subscribe button, please.